is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez is on the ground in Caracas, touring a war-torn commune on Sunday. Rodriguez assessed the damage from recent U.S. military operations as the administration rolls out new financial aid for reconstruction. A horrific rail disaster in southern Spain. At least 21 people are dead and dozens more injured after two high-speed passenger trains collided. Emergency crews remain on the scene of the wreckage. Indonesia is reeling from a double disaster. Devastating floods have paralyzed Jakarta while search teams in Sulawesi have located the wreckage of a missing government plane. At least one fatality is confirmed at the crash site. Chaos in Minneapolis as clashes erupt over immigration. Protesters took to the streets following a second shooting involving ICE agents, sharpening the divide over federal enforcement operations in the city. A major win for Taiwan's tech giants. The U.S. has agreed to slash tariffs and grant most favored nation status to semiconductors and ICT products, providing a massive boost to the island's exports. A potential game changer for Philippine energy, a major natural gas discovery at the Malampaya East 1 reservoir marks the country's first significant find in over a decade, bolstering long-term energy security. And K-pop fans, get ready. The icons are back. A massive wave is hitting the global charts as EXO, BTS, Blackpink, and Big Bang all announce new music, world tours, and long-awaited reunions. I'm Fatima Ozil. Newsline World starts now. Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez toured a war-torn commune in Caracas on Sunday to assess the damage from the recent U.S. military operation. As the nation grapples with the aftermath, the administration is rolling out new financial measures to support reconstruction. MJ Mondihar reports.
Walking through the Heroína de la Patria commune, Venezuelan acting president Delcy Rodriguez witnessed firsthand the destruction left behind by the January 3rd airstrikes. Official reports indicate that more than 460 apartments were damaged or destroyed in the capital during the high-stakes operation to capture President Nicolas Maduro. The visit comes at a critical time as the Venezuelan government attempts to stabilize the country and provide relief to thousands of affected residents. Rodriguez used the visit to announce the establishment of two major social funds. These resources are earmarked for social protection and the urgent repair of public services and infrastructure that were crippled during the assault. The human cost of the conflict continues to mount, with officials confirming the deaths of 32 Cuban military personnel and 47 Venezuelan combatants. Scientific research was also dealt a heavy blow, as at least 4 centers belonging to the Venezuelan Institute for Scientific Research were reportedly hit. Despite the heavy losses, Rodriguez maintained a tone of resilience, urging the public to remain calm, while the government continues to demand the release of Maduro and Cecilia Flores from U.S. custody.
Así que el sentimiento que tiene nuestro pueblo es de unidad, de rechazo a cualquier forma de agresión, es la calma, es la paciencia y la prudencia estratégica.
As recovery efforts begin, the interim administration faces the daunting task of rebuilding the nation's infrastructure while navigating a tense and uncertain diplomatic landscape. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
At least 18 people are confirmed dead as devastating wildfires continue to sweep through Chile's Nobel and Biobío regions. President Gabriel Boric has declared a state of catastrophe as tens of thousands flee the advancing flames. Paul Montibon has a story.
Thick orange smoke and towering flames have turned the coastal city of Penco into disaster zone. More than 20,000 residents in Penco alone were forced to flee their homes as the wildfire tore through neighborhoods, consuming cars, schools, and churches. In the Biobío region, emergency evacuations are underway at the Penco Lurkin Hospital as fire lines moved dangerously close to this facility. President Gabriel Boric declared a state of catastrophe in the Biobío and neighboring Nuevo regions, located about 500 kilometers or 310 miles south of the capital Santiago. Chile's National Service for Disaster Prevention and Response has issued mass evacuation orders across multiple areas.
En la jornada de ayer y la de hoy se han ya enviado 87 alertas SAE para proceder a la evacuación. Y estas alertas han tenido un ámbito de aplicación de más de 50.000 personas. Más de 50.000 personas que están en las tareas de evacuación para, obviamente, siempre velar por la vida de todas las chilenas y chilenos.
The government has deployed nearly 4,000 firefighters and hundreds of emergency vehicles to battle more than 20 active fire fronts. Officials warned the death toll, currently at 18, is expected to rise as search teams gain access to heavily burned areas.
Esto da cuenta de un despliegue importante de las capacidades estratégicas que tiene nuestro país para enfrentar esta emergencia, que ha tenido como uno de los puntos más complejos el incendio en la zona de Lirquén por su afectación a zonas urbanas y la destrucción de vivienda.
As the fires continue to consume thousands of hectares, thousands of displaced families are waiting for conditions to improve. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montibon, SMNI News.
A deadly train crash has shaken southern Spain after two high-speed passenger services collided, killing at least 21 people and injuring dozens more. The collision occurred near Adamus outside Cordoba when a train traveling from Malaga to Madrid derailed minutes into its journey and crossed onto another track. A second train heading in the opposite direction was unable to avoid the impact, sending both services off the rails. Around 300 passengers were on board one of the trains, according to the operator. Emergency crews worked overnight using heavy equipment to free people trapped inside crushed carriages. Ambulances arrived on site while survivors were evacuated to nearby shelters. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez says a full investigation is underway, while the Royal Palace has expressed condolences to the families of those who lost their lives. Rail traffic between Madrid and Andalusia remains suspended, with authorities opening support centers at major stations to assist families of those involved. Up next, Indonesia is reeling from a double disaster. Devastating floods have paralyzed Jakarta, while search teams in Sulawesi have located the wreckage of a missing government plane. At least one fatality is confirmed at the crash site. And a potential game changer for Philippine energy, a major natural gas discovery at the Malampaya East 1 reservoir marks the country's first significant find in over a decade, bolstering long-term energy security. More news when Newsline World returns.
Sa kabila ng mga mas modernong kaalaman at teknolohiya, nananatiling matindi ang banta ng HIV sa Pilipinas. Pero gaano nga ba kalala ang sitwasyon? Ang HIV o Human Immunodeficiency Virus ay isang sakit na sumisira sa immune system ng katawan. Ngunit tandaan, hindi ito nakukuha sa simpleng pakikisalamuha. Hindi mo agad mararamdaman, pero unti-unti nitong pinapahina ang katawan. At kapag hindi naagapan, humahantong ito sa AIDS, ang huling yugto na impeksyon, kung saan halos wala ng panlaban ng katawan laban sa sakit. Patuloy na dumadami ang kaso ng sakit na ito sa Pilipinas. Isang nakababahalang pagtaas. Umabot na sa 500% ang itinaas ng HIV cases sa mga kabataang edad 15 hanggang 25. Ayon mismo sa Department of Health, 56 na bagong kaso ang naitatala kada araw sa bansa mula Enero hanggang Marso 2025. At ang pinakamatinding apektado, ang kalalakihan at kabataang Pilipino. Dahil dito, ang Pilipinas na ngayon ang may pinakamataas na bilang ng bagong kaso ng HIV sa buong Western Pacific region. Isang indikasyon ng lumulubahang sitwasyon. Kaya nananawagan ng Department of Health gawing opisyal at urgent ang laban sa HIV sa pamamagitan ng isang Public Health Emergency Declaration. Kalalakihan ng pangunahing apektado. 95% ng bagong kaso ay lalaki. Mahigit 1/3 ay kabataang nasa edad 15 hanggang 24. Habang wala pang deklarasyon, patuloy ang DOH sa mga sumusunod na hakbang: HIV testing, libreng gamot, self-test kits, at pakikipagtulungan sa DepEd para sa edukasyon sa mga paaralan. Isinulong rin ng DOH ang online patient appointment system para sa HIV patients. Layunin nitong gawing mas madali at mas personal ang pag-access sa libreng gamutan at konsultasyon. Ayon sa schedule ng pasyente, ang HIV ay hindi tulad ng flu. Hindi ito basta naipapasa sa hangin. Ito ay naipapasa sa pamamagitan ng personal na desisyon. Kailangan din nating pagtuunan ng pansin ang ugali, disiplina, at personal na responsibilidad. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Indonesia is reeling from two separate disasters as devastating floods paralyzed the capital, while search teams in Sulawesi have discovered the wreckage of a missing government plane. At least one fatality has been confirmed at the mountainous crash site. More on this from Almar Fasuelo.
In the capital city of Jakarta, residents are once again wading through deep floodwaters following a weekend of relentless downpours. The flooding has paralyzed major roads and inundated dozens of neighborhoods, with water levels reaching up to 70 centimeters in the hardest hit areas. Locals were seen pushing stalled motorcycles and using makeshift rafts to transport essential supplies through the murky water. Disaster officials have raised the alert level to level 2 as pumping stations struggle to keep up with the rainfall that has displaced scores of families. While the capital battles the floods, a grim discovery was made on the slopes of Mount Bulusaraong in South Sulawesi. Rescue teams have located the wreckage of an ATR-42-500 aircraft that vanished from radar on Saturday with 11 people on board. Aerial footage shows the plane's fuselage and tail scattered across the steep, fog-covered ridge in the mountainous region. Pasaranas officials confirmed that the body of one male victim was retrieved from a deep ravine, while searchers have spotted other remains along a nearby cliff. The aircraft was on a maritime surveillance mission for the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries when it lost contact during its approach to Makassar. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Committee have arrived at the scene to begin piecing together the cause of the fatal crash. Reporter for Newsline World, Almar Forsuelo, SMNA News.
Naval forces from China, Russia, and South Africa have wrapped up joint maritime drills off the country's southern coast as the BRICS groupings steps up military cooperation at sea. This report from Daniela Poligle.
China, Russia, and South Africa have completed joint naval exercises off South Africa's coast, highlighting the expanding military cooperation among BRICS nations. The joint exercise, dubbed Built for Peace 2026, was held in the waters and airspace near Simonstown, a key South African naval base. Warships were seen maneuvering information, live fire artillery exercises, and simulated responses to maritime security threats, including a hijacked vessel scenario. The operation was carried out in 2 phases. The first focused on port-based activities, including ship visits, cultural exchanges, and professional interactions among participating navies. The second phase moved offshore, where forces carried out coordinated maneuvers, communication drills, helicopter-based medical evacuations, and search and rescue operations. Officials from participating countries say the exercises were aimed at strengthening maritime security, improving coordination against piracy and terrorism, and safeguarding key global shipping routes. India, also a BRICS member, did not take part in the drills. South African authorities have defended the exercises, describing them as essential for regional security and international cooperation at sea. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulite, SMNI News.
The issue of alleged youth involvement in rebel groups has resurfaced after the armed forces of the Philippines questioned the Makabayan bloc in Congress. A former Department of National Defense secretary also called on the Commission on Elections and Congress to look into the alleged recruitment of young people to join the New People's Army. Almar Forzuelo and Prince Tripoli reports.
The armed forces of the Philippines questioned the Makabayan bloc in Congress over why some of its members end up in mountainous areas and become involved in armed encounters. This follows a recent clash in Abra de Ilocos Occidental, Mindoro, which resulted in the death of a member of the Kabataan Party List. According to AFP Chief Public Affairs Office Colonel Cersas Trinidad, based on their experience, government forces have repeatedly encountered young individuals who were members of groups under the Makabayan bloc. This prompted the AFP to question Gabriela Party List, Kabataan Party List, and other affiliated groups on why their youth members allegedly end up joining armed groups in the mountains.
At ating katanungan sa kanila is paano napunta ang ilang kanilang membro at marami pang mga naunang membro, estudyante ng Gabriela, member sila ng Gabriela, Kabataan, and all of these party lists, youth na later on encounter na may armas at namamatay. Itong mga kabataan na to. So yun po yung katanungan natin. Bakit sila napunta doon?
Meanwhile, former DND Secretary Norberto Gonzales insisted that the Commission on Elections should closely monitor party list groups to ensure that the electoral system is not being used for illegal activities. He said the law clearly prohibits any form of armed struggle.
Kailangan sigilin ng pamilya. At saka yun, dapat pinomonitor kung talagang hindi ka na nag-i-engage na armed struggle. Pero so nakikita natin yan, talagang malinaw.
Gonzales added that Congress should also take action regarding alleged recruitment of young people to rebel against the government.
Dapat. Kasi tingnan nilang mabuti yan. Kasi against the law ang pag-conduct ng armed struggle. Yung armed rebellion ay hindi yan tinotolerate ng batas natin. Kaya kailangan tingnan na progreso yan.
When asked why left-leaning groups continue to secure seats in Congress, Gonzales said this was due to corruption and alleged assistance from former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, which he claimed allowed this group to remain influential in Congress.
Lalo na sa COMELEC, talaga namang, alam mo, napakalupot na yung kaisa-isang karapatan ng mga mamamayan sa pagpili ng mamumuno sa bayan natin, binibenta pa. Kaya mas malaking kasalanan yan actually. Alam natin na may mga party list na tinulungan ng dating speaker para manalo. At ang panalo, hindi nangangahulugan na dahil ibinoto ng tao. Kaya yan ang masaklap sa politika natin.
In closing, the AFP said it will continue to conduct operations to put an end to the recruitment of innocent youth by communist groups.
For the Armed Forces of the Philippines po, tuloy-tuloy po tayo sa pag-conduct ng ating operations para po tuluyan na po natin na masuplong itong mga ganitong armadong grupo at hindi na po dumami pa itong mga nalinin lang po ng mga ganitong grupo.
For God and my beloved Philippines, Almar Forzuelo, SMNI News.
A major natural gas discovery at the Balampaya East 1 reservoir, marking the country's first significant gas find in more than 10 years and a major boost to the Philippines' long-term energy security. Preslyn Catarong reports.
The newly discovered reservoir lies about 5 kilometers east of the existing Malampaya gas field and is estimated to contain around 98 billion cubic feet of gas in place. According to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., this is equivalent to nearly 14 billion kilowatt hours of electricity annually, enough to supply power to about 5.7 million households, 9,500 buildings, or nearly 200,000 schools in 1 year. Initial testing showed the well flowing at 60 million cubic feet of gas per day, indicating strong production potential comparable to the original Malampaya wells. In addition to natural gas, the discovery also includes condensate, a high-value liquid fuel that can further help stabilize the country's power supply. Marcos Jr. highlighted that Malampaya East 1 or MAE1 will help extend Malampaya's contribution to the nation's domestic gas supply for many years.
Ipinagmamalaki rin natin na Pilipino ang nanguna sa drilling na ito. Higit sa lahat, natapos nila ito na walang aksidente o environmental incident.
The MAE1 discovery is the first major milestone under the Malampaya Phase 4 drilling campaign, which also covers the Camago 2 and Bagong Pag-asa wells. Next steps include the completion and testing of Camago 3, followed by the drilling of the Pag-asa exploration well to identify additional gas resources.
This achievement was made possible through the work of the SC38 Consortium led by Prime Energy in partnership with UC38, PNOC Exploration Corporation, and Prime Oil and Gas Incorporated.
President Marcos said the achievement demonstrates how responsible environmental stewardship and strong cooperation between the government and the private sector can ensure a more reliable energy supply for Filipinos. Located off the coast of Palawan, the Malampaya gas field has long been cornerstone of the Philippines' energy security, serving as the country's main source of indigenous natural gas and a key supplier of power to the zone. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Preslyn Catarong, SMNI News.
When we return, chaos in Minneapolis as clashes erupt over immigration. Protesters took to the streets following a second shooting involving ICE agents, sharpening the divide over federal enforcement operations in the city. And a major win for Taiwan's tech giants. The U.S. has agreed to slash tariffs and grant most favored nation status to semiconductors and ICT products, providing a massive boost to the island's exports. More news after the break.
Pasasaan pa ang kalayaan kung ang mga alipin ngayon ay sila din naman mang-aalipin bukas.
Ibigin mo ang iyong bayan ng sunod kay Bathala, sa iyong kapurihan at higit sa lahat sa iyong sarili.
Hindi natin mapapalaya ang ating mga sarili maliban kung sumunong tayo na nagkakaisa sa iisang hangarin.
Ang tunay na makabayan ay ang tumutupad ng pagpapabuti ng kanyang mga kapwa, gaano man kaaba ang kanyang katungkulan. Naway magsilbing paalala ang kanilang mga salita upang lalo nating mahalin at tapat na paglingkuran ang minamahal nating inang bayan.
Clash Clashes broke out in Minneapolis as pro and anti-immigration groups took to the streets following a second shooting involving U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, escalating tensions over federal enforcement operations in the city. Valdivina Gracia has the news.
Clashes erupted again in the streets of Minneapolis this week as pro and anti-ICE groups faced off following a second controversial shooting involving a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement or ICE officer. On Wednesday night, a Venezuelan man was shot in the leg by a federal ICE agent during a traffic stop in North Minneapolis, marking the second shooting linked to ICE within a week. Authorities say the man fled from agents and during a struggle, the officer fired in what the Department of Homeland Security described as self-defense. He was treated for non-life-threatening injuries and 2 others were taken into custody. The incident has fueled ongoing unrest in the city, just days after the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good by another ICE officer on January 7. That earlier encounter ignited widespread condemnation and protest, becoming a flashpoint in the national debate over federal immigration enforcement. Pro-immigration demonstrators and their opponents filled downtown streets Sunday with footage showing heated confrontations, shouted slogans, and placards in both sides. Police units patrolled the area and at times withdrew as tensions mounted, a stark sign of volatile public sentiment around federal activity in the city. In one notable moment, hundreds of anti-ICE protesters forced a small pro-ICE far-right rally to disperse near City Hall, with minor physical clashes reported before law enforcement intervened. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Valdivina Gracia, SMNA News.
Taiwanese tech firms stand to gain as the U.S. agrees to reduce tariffs and guarantees most favored nation treatment for semiconductors and ICT products. Joy Tabanao tells us more.
Taiwan has secured significant trade concessions from the United States, including reduced tariffs and assurances of preferential treatment of its semiconductor industry, Taiwanese officials announced this week. Taiwanese Vice Premier Chang Li-chun detailed the outcomes of recent trade negotiations with the U.S. He explained that the U.S. has agreed to a 15% tariff rate on Taiwan's exports, the lowest among countries with a U.S. trade deficit.
整体的谈判的结果是，我方取得2个最优惠待遇，对等关税15%不叠加，是美国逆差国中最低的税率。那另外，我们同时也针对美国未来若课征232半导体及衍生品关税时，美方承诺将给台湾最优惠待遇。我们取得2个最优惠待遇，这是我们要向大家报告的第一点。
Chen said the U.S. has also promised that any future trade disputes under Section 232 tariffs on semiconductors and related products will grant Taiwan preferential MFN treatment, reducing uncertainty for Taiwanese tech companies.
台湾是美国第6大的贸易逆差国，而我们同时也是对美国而言最重要的半导体的制造国。这个可以从我们台美逆差当中高达90%是来自于半导体衍生品以及这个 ICT 产品的这样的一个数据可以看得出来。那也因此，台美之间的谈判我们必须同时就对等关税以及232各项的有关美国国安目标的相关关税。
Chang highlighted that the 15% rate aligns Taiwan with major U.S. allies such as Europe, Japan, and South Korea, many of which enjoy favorable trade agreements. Taiwan's tariff rate is now comparable to its competitors in the semiconductor sector, improving its position in the global market. Beyond tariffs, Chang noted that Taiwan proposed the so-called Taiwan model, aimed at helping Taiwanese industries enter the U.S. domestic supply chain, particularly in emerging sectors like artificial intelligence. The U.S. reportedly responded positively, signaling opportunities for deeper collaboration. With these trade concessions, Taiwan positions itself to expand its global high-tech presence while solidifying its critical role in U.S. semiconductor supply chains. Joy Banal, your citizen correspondent reporting from Newsline World.
Meralco Power Gen Corporation has clarified that it is not the target of a 24 billion pesos fine imposed by the Department of Energy. Angel Pastor reports.
Meralco Power Gen Corporation or MGen clarified that SP New Energy Corporation or SPNEC is not the main entity being penalized in connection with the 24 billion pesos fine imposed by the Department of Energy on terminated Solar Philippines contracts. According to MGen, out of the 12,000 megawatts worth of contracts cancelled by the DOE, only one project is linked to SPNEC, the 280 megawatt Santa Rosa solar project. MGen said the project was offered and awarded under the DOE's Green Energy Auction Program during the tenure of the project's previous management. The company added that it filed a notice of force majeure last year due to circumstances beyond its control, which prevented the completion of the project originally targeted for December 2025. MGen also emphasized its strong track record in implementing renewable energy projects. The company noted that it completed 2 green energy auction projects ahead of schedule. The 19.8 megawatt Bungabon solar project in Nueva Ecija finished 6 months early, and the 52.8 megawatt Cordon solar project in Isabela completed 4 months ahead of its target date. Meanwhile, Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Legarda Leviste, former owner of SPNEC, clarified that the fine was not imposed on him personally, but on the company he sold in 2023 to 2024. Leviste said the issue may have been linked to him following his recent disclosures regarding alleged widespread corruption.
Hindi po sa akin ipinataw ang multa. Ako po ay nagbenta ng kumpanya noong 2023 and 4. Tapos yung multa ay ipinataw ngayon lang. Baka dahil, I'm not alleging this, I'm just saying nagkataon, ito po ay kasunod ng aking pagbunyag ng certain things.
Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Angel Pastor, SMNI News.
A big-time businessman issues a fearless forecast on the future of the economy amid corruption issues confronting the Marcos Jr. government. MJ Mondihar has the news.
For business mogul Chavit Singson, the country's economy no longer has hope of recovering due to the depth of shame now confronting the government. This comes amid alleged anomalies in flood control projects and the continuing reports of irregularities in the national budget.
Mahirapan tayo. Maski na suportahan pa military itong administrasyon ni Bongbong Marcos, mahirap na dahil yung foreign investment, sobrang baba. Hindi magtali ang ekonomiya eh.
According to the former Ilocos Sur governor, no matter what the current administration does, the economy will continue to suffer losses.
This comes despite the gathering of top cabinet secretaries and business leaders that have urged to revive the administration's weak economic performance.
Dami ng kinukuha. Hindi na magtatali. Hindi na pwede pandarin. Wala ng pera.
According to economists, trust and confidence have sharply declined not only among foreign investors but also among local business owners due to corruption. This is further aggravated by President Bongbong Marcos' -3 trust rating, which is reportedly difficult to improve amid moral issues involving the first family.
2 trillion pare ang binabayaran natin every year. Sa 17 trillion na utang na natin. Pataas pa ng pataas. Wala na mangyayari sa atin dyan. Maski suportahan pa military siya, bagsak tayo.
Singson continues to call on the Filipino people to unite against corruption in government. He also hoped that the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police will speak out publicly and not limit their actions to issuing press releases against corruption. Earlier, the armed forces stated that Singson should file cases in court against those he knows to be involved in corruption and that the military should remain outside the issue. According to them, corruption issues must be addressed through legal means.
Kaya kung maintindihan lang sana mga military, police, sabihin lang nila na ayaw nilang grappling corruption, happy na tayo. Kaya nakikiusap pa rin ako sa mga police, mga military, na mag-isip-isip sila dahil future ng mga kabataan to. May mga anak din sila eh. May anak lahat yan. So, future ng mga kinabukasan, mga kabataan to. Dapat i-denounce nila ang grappling corruption.
Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondeha, SMNA News.
lang. Pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan. Walang kaharap, walang accountability. Kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito. Pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulung at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, sa kapalalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling, gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SM9.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika, at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod, pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakakadepress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman dyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Nawawalan ka na ng focus, nawawala ang motivation, hirap mag-isip ng malalim, parang lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. Nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop. Kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety at stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen, magbasa, makipagkwentuhan, magdasal, maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago.
The global K-pop wave is surging once again as supergroups EXO, BTS, Blackpink, and Big Bang roll out new music, world tours, and long-awaited reunions. Meanwhile, former Asia's Next Top Model runner-up Adela Mae Marshall is entering pageantry, set to represent Muntinlupa in the Miss Universe Philippines 2026 competition. Blake Ann has all the buzz.
K-pop's biggest names are making a powerful return to the global stage this year, with major album releases and long-awaited world tours reigniting fan excitement worldwide. Some of the most influential groups in K-pop are stepping back into the spotlight this year, signaling a major comeback era for the industry. EXO is set to release its 8th full-length album titled Reverse this Monday, January 19, marking the group's first studio album in several years. Meanwhile, global superstars BTS have announced both a new world tour and the release of their 5th full-length album Arirangs scheduled for March 20. The tour will include 2 concert dates in Manila in 2027, thrilling fans across the Philippines and the region. Blackpink is also adding momentum to the comeback wave, confirming the release of their 3rd mini-album Deadline on February 27. And in another major moment for K-pop history, Big Bang, former label mates of Blackpink, are set to reunite on stage at Coachella this April, following their announcement last September 2025. The performance will remark the group's long-awaited return as a full act. Another familiar face from the fashion world is stepping into pageantry as a former Asia's Next Top Model finalist sets her sights on the Miss Universe Philippines crown. Model Adela Mae Marshall, an alumna of Asia's Next Top Model Cycle 6, is officially entering the pageant scene after being named Miss Universe Philippines Muntinlupa 2026. The announcement was made on Saturday by pageant camp aces and queens, confirming Marshall as Muntinlupa's representative in the Miss Universe Philippines 2026 competition. In a social media post, the camp wrote, and I quote, "It's official! Congratulations to Adela Mae Marshall, the new Miss Universe Philippines Muntinlupa 2026, a professional model and runner-up of Asia's Next Top Model Cycle 6." End quote. Marshall's transition from international modeling competitions to national pageantry adds to the growing list of fashion industry standouts vying for the Miss Universe Philippines crown this year. With her modeling background and international exposure, Marshall is expected to be one of the contenders to watch as Miss Universe Philippines 2026 competition draws closer. And that's all for now. I'm Blake Ann, bringing you the latest showbiz.
In sports updates, Senegal won the Africa Cup of Nations final after a controversial stoppage time penalty sparked chaotic scenes, including a temporary walk-off before victory was sealed in extra time. Meanwhile, Alex Ayala steps into uncharted territory today as she makes her Australian Open main draw debut, carrying the hopes of Filipino fans at home and abroad. Almar Forsuelo and Prince Tripoli reports.
The Africa Cup of Nations final in Rabat was overshadowed by refereeing decisions and crowd disorder, turning what had been a tense goalless match into one of the most dramatic and dispute finishes in recent Afghan history. The match against host nation Morocco was still goalless when referee Jean-Jacques Nadala awarded a stoppage time penalty following a VAR review. Angered by the decision and by an earlier disallowed goal, Senegal coach Pepe Thiaw instructed his players to leave the pitch, causing a delay of around 17 minutes. Play eventually resumed after Senegal captain Sadio Mane urged his teammates to return to the field. Brahim Diaz missed the penalty, with goalkeeper Edouard Mendy making the save. Senegal went on to secure the title in extra time as Pape Gueye scored the winning goal. After the match, Morocco coach Walid Regragui described Senegal's walk off as shameful, while Thiaw later apologized, admitting the decision should not have happened. Despite the controversy, Senegal claimed their second Africa Cup of Nations title in 5 years. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Prince Tripoli, SMNA News.
Alex Yala continues her rise on the WTA Tour as she competes in the season's first Grand Slam, featuring the largest prize pool in history. Yala faces American Alicia Parks in the opening round at Court 6 of Melbourne Park, with first serve scheduled for 9:10 a.m. Manila time. The 20-year-old enters the tournament ranked number 49 in the world, a career best, while Parks sits at number 100. Yala described herself as AO ready following the opening ceremony and flag parade. Elsewhere, world number 1 Arina Sabalenka began her title defense with a straight sets win over French wildcard Tiansoa Rakotomanga Rajauna. Sabalenka, chasing her third Australian Open crown in 4 years, admitted she felt added pressure playing in front of tennis legends Roger Federer and Rod Laver. Reporting for Newsline World, Almar Forzuelo, SMNA News.
And before we end, may be inspired with the words of the song. No matter who you are or whatever your circumstances in life, there are always things to be grateful for. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Fatima Nozil. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.